Hey guys, it's Jeff, and today I'm joined by my friend Ben.
Hello.
Ben is the head of our technology and analytics team at Saltbox. In this video, we're going to go over how to use a tool called Google Tag Manager. Tag Manager is a tool that allows you as a marketer to deploy and manage your tracking scripts on a website. In this video, Ben's going to walk us through how to set up a container, set up the firing rules in Google Tag Manager, and actually deploy Tag Manager to a website. So I'm going to get out of his way and let Ben unbox it.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through some of the basic concepts you're going to need to understand to get started with Google Tag Manager, from creating your first container to deploying your first tag. So the first thing we need to do is create an account in Google Tag Manager. So we'll click Create Account, and we'll enter our account name. This should be your company name. Come down here and we'll create our first container. And this should be your website URL. And then we'll select Web, because we'll be deploying this container to the web. And then click Create. Accept the terms. All right, and now we're in our first container. In Google Tag Manager, one account can have multiple containers. As a rule of thumb, each company should have its own account, and each website, or possibly a subdomain that that company owns, would have its own container. As a user, you may have access to several GTM accounts if you're an agency or freelancer that works with several companies. Accounts are mainly for organization and user access management. The majority of the work you'll do in GTM will be at the container level, and everything that we review from here on will be at that container level. So now we're going to install our container on our website. To find the embed codes, we'll click the container ID in the upper right corner. And here we'll find two separate code snippets. One that you'll want to paste as high in the head section of the page as possible, and then one that you'll want to paste immediately after the opening body tag. So we'll copy this first snippet, come over to our site files, and paste it as the first script in the head section. Now we'll come back to Tag Manager, we'll copy the second code snippet, and we'll paste it immediately after the opening body tag. And now we'll save our site. Okay, so now let's verify that our container is installed properly on the website. So we'll click over to our site in Chrome, right-click, and click Inspect to pull up the HTML code of the site. We'll check the head section and see that our Tag Manager embed code is installed here. And then again, after the opening body tag, we see our Tag Manager embed code. Great. At a basic level, our container installation is a point on the site where we can insert HTML code, most commonly in the form of script tags, if certain conditions are true. For instance, we could install the Google Analytics page view tracking on every page of the site. One of the main benefits of this is that you can install code on your website without having to make direct changes to the site files each time. For example, if you have a trusted marketing partner, you can grant them access to your container, and they can install event tracking scripts on your site without having to open a ticket with your engineering department. On the other hand, this can also be a security vulnerability. Anyone who has sufficient access to your GTM container could potentially make breaking changes to your website or install malicious code. Fortunately, GTM offers several different access levels to mitigate these concerns. For example, you could grant a user access to propose changes, but not publish those changes without your team's approval. I won't get into all of the access level options in this video, but know that they are an important part of securing your site if you're going to use GTM. Now that we've covered how to create and install your GTM container and discuss some of the capabilities it affords us, let's go over some of the basic concepts that you'll need to understand in order to start adding code to your site using Google Tag Manager. The first core concept is tags. Tags are snippets of code that you'll install on your website using GTM. They're named tags because HTML elements are also referred to as tags. And each Google Tag Manager tag that you add to your site will consist of one or more HTML elements, most commonly in the form of script tags. The second core concept is triggers. Triggers are how you define the conditions under which you'd like your tags to fire. Most commonly, you'll use page view triggers, which fire tags on all pages or subsets of all pages. For example, if you wanted to fire a tag on your thank you page, you could create a page view trigger and set it to fire when the page path contains thank you. The third core concept is variables. Variables are strings of text, numbers, or objects that you need to use across multiple tags or triggers. The reason that we'd use a variable to store a value instead of hard coding it is so that if we need to change its value later, we only need to update it in one place. So now we're going to walk through a basic example of adding Google Analytics page view tracking to your site to put all these concepts together. So now that we're back in Google Tag Manager, we're going to come over to the Tags section and click the New button to add our first tag. We'll call this first tag Google Analytics Page View. So now we'll click the Tag Configuration section and choose our tag type. Here we'll see a list of built-in tag types that make it easy to add common tracking scripts to your site without writing any code. In this example, we'll click Google Analytics Universal Analytics. To set this tag to fire on all pages, we'll come down to the Triggering section, click on it, and select the All Pages trigger. We'll click back into the Tag Configuration section, and then we'll select the Google Analytics Settings dropdown and click New Variable. And we'll call this variable Main GA Settings. Click back into the variable configuration and enter your Google Analytics tracking ID. We'll just enter a placeholder for now. This Google Analytics settings variable gives us a way to configure our Google Analytics tracker object and share that configuration across multiple tags. For instance, we might share it between our page view tag and our event tracking tags. We'll click Save to save our main GA settings variable. And it's giving me an error. We'll have to type in 1234569 and click Save. Now that we've configured our tag, created our Google Analytics settings variable, and set it to trigger on all pages, we'll save the tag, click Submit, add a version name, we'll say Add Google Analytics Page View Tracking, and click Publish. Now that we've published the first version of our container, let's check the site and make sure our Google Analytics page view tracking is set up. So we'll refresh our site, and again click Inspect in Google Chrome, and we'll check the head section of our site, and we see that our Google Analytics script has been deployed to the site. Great, so now we've installed our first tag using Google Tag Manager.
We hope this video helps you get started using Google Tag Manager. If you use this tool a lot, you'll end up loving it and you'll never want to go back to manually installing and deploying your pixels. So check it out today and remember to always be optimizing.